Hi guys, this is Rich with Wild Wonderful Weekends, and if you watched my last couple videos, you know that I recently bought the new 3D camera from Calf, the Calf-Visinse, and I've not been exactly happy with it. But over the last couple weeks, I have developed a workflow that lets me go from capturing footage to editing to posting on a brand new VR platform that's specifically designed for immersive content and that's miles ahead of where YouTube is right now in that front. And the best part about this is I'm only using free software to do it and not taking a hit to resolution. I can still export this footage at full resolution. Now, I will go ahead and say that this workflow isn't for everybody. If you don't mind paying the subscription fee for Adobe Premiere, that's probably the way to go. It's going to get you better results and save you some time, I'm sure. But this is for people that have bought this camera. They want to create and edit and post immersive content without spending any more money on editing software. And this workflow does help me overcome some of the shortcomings of the camera. So it's made me a little less angry about it, even though I am spending some time in editing. But anyway, I'm going to take you through my entire process. I'm going to also share a link to my immersive content channel on the new platform that I'm telling you about so you can get an idea of some real world examples of what this camera can do. I'm also going to timestamp the sections of this video down in the description. That way, if you want to reference it later, you can jump right to the section you're interested in. And things I'm going to cover are going to be camera settings, preparing a work folder for editing, editing video clips using a free program, combining clips with smooth transitions, adding music and custom audio, and publishing. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Before you can use this workflow, you'll need to download 3 free programs: Davinci Resolve, Insta360 Studio, and FFmpeg. I have links in the description for all 3. Just click them and follow the instructions. They're really easy to set up. Okay, now that you have those apps installed, we're ready to set the camera up, which is easy because at the time of this recording, we really don't have much control over the camera. You'll want to make sure that the mode is set to VR and that the type is set to VR180 3D. And just a tip, the less contrasty the shooting environment, the better. If your subject is well lit and relatively close to the camera, that'll also make for better video. Once you've recorded the clips you want, it's time to move them all into a folder on your computer. Having all the clips you're going to use in the same folder will make things a lot easier as we go along. I'm going to make a folder named Waterfall Trail and then browse out to my Calf Cameras folders. Now I'll go to Disk, then to Tarsier or Tarsier, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, and that might seem strange to you, it does to me. I would have expected that these files would be in the DCIM folder, but they're not. Anyway, I copy the files I want into the Waterfall Trail folder I just made. Okay, now that I have the files in the location I want, I can move on to editing. Now this part was a bit of a lucky find. It turns out that Insta360 Studio can edit these files from your Calf-Visinse and export them at full resolution. So go ahead and launch Insta360 Studio now. Once it opens, you can select your files from your working folder and drag them right into the work area. Thumbnails for your files will be displayed in the navigation panel on the left. You can select and play your files by double-clicking the thumbnails. I won't be editing all of these videos, but as you can see, the videos I shot in the shade look really blue, so I'm definitely going to warm them up a bit. Notice you can click and drag in the video view to pan around. Click the icon on the right of the window that looks like a film strip with a play button on it to bring up the editing panel. You'll see all of the controls you can use under the Adjust title. All I'm really interested in for this clip is the color temperature control. And I'm just going to bump it up until the image looks a bit better. And as you can see right away, that's a major improvement and something that would have been impossible to do in camera because at the time of this recording, you can't control the white balance. Now you can make this adjustment in the free version of Davinci Resolve, but the free version will only allow you to export at a maximum resolution of 4K, so you would lose almost half of your video's resolution if you went that route. Once you've finished with your edits, you can simply close the edit panel by clicking the X in the upper right of the panel. I'm going to edit the other clips, then we'll move on to trimming. Okay, so now that my clips are edited, I'm ready to trim them to the length I want. As you can see in this clip, my fingers are in the frame at the beginning of the shot, and I only really want for each clip to play for about 20 to 30 seconds. Anything longer than that and the viewers tend to get bored. So I'll just come down to the timeline at the bottom of the window and click and drag the playhead line to the point in the video where I want this clip to start. Then I'll click the left bracket icon or the end point, and you can see the timeline updates to show that this is the new starting point for the clip. Next, I'll click and drag the playhead line to where I want the end of the video to be. Then I'll click the right bracket icon or the out point, and once again the timeline updates and I see the total length of my clip. Now I can set the export parameters for this clip by clicking the export button in the upper right of the screen. The first thing to do, and this is super important, is select 360 video at the top of this form. Don't worry, it will still export as a VR180 clip, but if you don't select this, you'll get a flat reframed video, and that's not what we want. After you select 360 video, change the file path to your working folder. And we'll want to specify a new name for this file so that it's easy to recognize when we're arranging the clips in the order we want. So I'm going to call this one Waterfall. There's some debate surrounding what the bitrate should be for these files. It's a trade-off between quality and file size / streamability. So for this file, I'm going to choose 80 megabits per second. Next, I confirm that my export resolution is 7200 by 3600, which is the native resolution of the file right out of the camera, so I know that's correct. Next, I want to switch the encoding format to H.265. But look what happened to our file name when I selected that. It reset it. And that's a bit of a gotcha that you have to watch out for. It's best not to actually name your file until you've set up the other export parameters. And speaking of parameters, I decided to do a Google search for what the bitrate should be for VR180 files. And it looks like a top end of about 60 megabits per second is ideal. So that's what I'm going to set this parameter to. And now I can click Start Export. I can view the progress of my exports by clicking the small transaction icon to the left of the export button. The speed of the export will depend on your computer's power and whether or not you're running other processes simultaneously. You don't have to export these files one at a time though. You can close this window, select the next file you want to work with, and I'll go ahead and set my in and out points like before, and export it as well. I'll select 360 video, select H.265 as my encoding format, change the bitrate to 60, confirm my resolution, give it a meaningful name, and click Start Export. Now if I view export progress, I see that I have 2 files being exported. I'm going to go ahead and export the rest of my clips, and then we'll be ready to join them into one video file with a smooth transition between each clip. Okay, let's go back into our working folder, and we're going to open a terminal window within this folder. On Windows, that means right-clicking somewhere in the empty space, then selecting Open in Terminal. And as you see, we're operating in our working folder. If we were on a Mac, we would go down to the lower left of the window and right-click on our working folder's name in the path that's displayed there, then select Open in Terminal. Now we're going to use FFmpeg to make sure the frame rate for all of our videos is 30 frames per second, because that's what the Calf-Visinse records at. But when we edit the clips in Insta360 Studio, it can sometimes change that. So in our terminal window, we're going to enter this command. And I have it in the description below so you can copy it if you like. And what this command does is run FFmpeg. The I here means input, so we pass it in the name of the video that we want to set the frame rate for. In this case, I want to pass it Boulders 1. The letter V here lets it know we're working on the video stream of the file. And we're setting the frame rates per second to 30. And the output of the file name, in this case, should be Boulders 1, 30 FPS. And you can name this whatever you like. It just helps me make sense of it if I use this naming convention. Okay, hit enter and the process will run. And just so you know, I'm working on a tool that will automate everything we're doing now, so that in the future, right after editing the files, you'll be able to set a few parameters in the tool and have it do all of these steps for you. All right, so that finished, and back in the working directory, we see I still have my source file, Boulders 1, and now I have my new file as well, Boulders 1 30 FPS. Now I'll need to do this for any of the files that I edited in Insta360 Studio, which I'll do now. Okay, now that's all finished. We can move on to the next step. And this step is optional, and it really comes down to personal preference. If we combine our clips just as they are now, there'll be no transition between them. Your viewers will be watching one clip, and when that clip is finished, it'll instantly cut to the following clip. To me, that's a bit jarring, so I do use a dip to black transition between each clip. If you would like the dip to black transition between your individual video clips, go to the Google Drive link in the description and download the 1-second spacer I've already provided for you there. If not, you can go on to the next step, combining all clips, which is timestamped in the description below. Okay, go to the website for the FFmpeg script generator, which I have linked in the description below. Next, in your working folder, decide which clip you want to appear first in your final video. For me, that'll be Dog on Bridge. And you want to make sure you're using clips that have 30 frames per second. And now I want to open the file to get its duration. And we can see here that it's 24 seconds. Now I'll copy the name of the video clip and paste it into the first field on the web page. Then I enter the clip's duration, which we said was 24 seconds, and click the plus sign just to the right. Next, I go back to my working folder and copy the name of the 1-second spacer that we downloaded. And paste that name into the first field. Then I put the duration, which of course is 1 second, then click the plus sign. And now we see that we have both files listed and in the order we want, because for the first file, we only want the fader at the end of the clip. For transition duration, we want to leave it at 1 second since that's how long our fader clip is. And for the file name, from here on out, the order of the files is going to be important. And since I know that this is the first clip I want in my final video, I'm going to simply name the output to 1.mp4. Next on the page, we see the checkboxes for various features, and currently use backslashes is checked. This makes the generated code more readable, but we don't actually need that for FFmpeg, so I uncheck it as well. Now we have our generated code in a single line. Just hover over the code, then left click it, and it'll be copied to the clipboard. Now we can go to our terminal window and paste in the code at the prompt. Then press enter or return if you're on Mac, and FFmpeg will run. Once it finishes, the newly created file will be in our working folder. And if I play that video file, we see that it smoothly fades to black at the end. Awesome. Now we're ready to process our second clip, and this one will be just a bit different because we want to add the fader to both the beginning and the end of it. So I come back to the code generator website and remove the previous entries. Then I go back to the working directory and once again copy the name of the spacer file and paste it into the first field of the web form. Then I enter a duration of 1 second and click the plus sign. Now I go back to the working directory and select the second clip I want to appear in my video. Again, making sure that I'm selecting one that has 30 frames per second. And I open it to get the duration. For this one, it looks like it's 32 seconds. Next, I copy the file's name. Then paste that into the web form along with the duration. Then click the plus sign. Now I can just copy the name of the fader file right from the web form controls. I paste it in the top field again, along with the duration of 1 second, and click the plus sign. Now as you see, we have a fader, then our video clip, then another fader. We still want a duration of 1 second for the transitions, and I will change the output file name now to 2.mp4 and copy the code. Now I can go to FFmpeg and paste the code and hit enter. Again, the code will run, and in just a bit we see the second file in the working directory. If I run this one, you'll see that it fades in from black and back out to black. For subsequent clips, since they will all have the opening and ending faders, all I have to do is override the name and the duration for each clip and update the output file name. So I'll open my third clip, and it has a duration of 34 seconds. Then I'll copy the name of the file and come back to the web form and enter those values in the middle fields. Then update the output file name. I copy the code and paste it into FFmpeg, then run it just like before. I'll do this for the rest of the clips I want to use in my final video. Okay, now that my individual video clips are ready to be merged into a single video, I want to create a text file inside my working directory called My List, with no spaces and no capitalization. The file extension should be txt. In this file, we're going to list the file name for each clip we want to use in our final video. The format of this file should look just like this. Make sure to pay attention to spelling and capitalization too. Once you have all of your files listed, save and close the text file. Now we're going to go back to our terminal window, making sure that we're still in our working directory, and enter this command. I'll put a copy of this command in the description so you can copy it if you don't want to type it all in. So again, we're running FFmpeg, and we're telling it to concatenate every file listed in the text file, my list. And the output file name will be merged.mp4. I can now press enter, the command runs, and in a bit I have the new merged video file. And if I play this file, you can see that it does indeed have all of the video clips and that there is a smooth dip to black transition between each one. At this point you could share or publish your video, but the microphone on the Calf-Visinse is pretty terrible, and it usually makes videos more interesting if they have a music track behind them. So the next step in my workflow is adding a custom audio track. To do this, I open Davinci Resolve and create a new project. Then in the Media tab, I drag over my merged video file as well as the audio file I want to use. I then select the Edit tab and drag the video file and the audio file onto the timeline. Now for some reason the video preview doesn't show up correctly, and I'm still working on figuring this one out. But for this workflow it isn't super important because all I really want to do is make sure that my audio track is aligned correctly and the right length. Since I want to get rid of the original audio track altogether, I'll just turn it down right here in the timeline. Next, I'll scrub all the way to the right where my video file ends. I'll set the playhead right at the end of the video file. Then I'll select the razor tool and come down to the music track and click to make a cut. Now I can activate the select tool, select the part of the audio track that I don't need, and press the delete key to remove it. Then I can put my cursor in the top right of the audio track and click the small white dot and drag it to the left to create an audio fade out. I like to do it for about 4 seconds. Now I can select the delivery tab and give my output file a name. I'll name it music track. Then I'll browse to the location I want the file to be saved in. Then I can come up to the top and scroll right and select audio only. Then I can come down about halfway in this panel and click audio and change the file type from WAV to MP3. Next, I click add to render queue, and we can see the project appear in the upper right of the screen. So now I can click render all to make that happen. After a bit, we can see the new music track file appear in the working directory. Now we're ready to merge this new audio track with our video. Come back to the terminal window and enter this ffmpeg command. And again, this is in the description below in case you just want to copy and paste it. I'm going to change the input video to merged, since that's the name of my video file. And I'm going to change the name of the audio input from audio file to music track. I'm also going to change the name of the output video file to merged with music. Now I can hit enter and the process will run. After just a bit, I can see my new video file has been created, and when I open that, the music track has been added. Okay, now we're ready to publish it to the platform that I'm going to be using from now on to post my immersive content, and that is DEO or DO VR. To upload a video from your computer, open a web browser and go to deovr.com. The first time you visit the site, either from your browser or your VR headset, you'll be prompted to subscribe. There are benefits to subscribing, but if you just want to check it out, simply close this window or click Thanks Not Now. The interface will look similar to YouTube with thumbnails for videos you can watch. The videos with the little golden crown icon in the upper right of the thumbnail are for viewers with subscriptions only. So anytime you click one of those, you'll be prompted to subscribe. The others are free to view, and even though this platform is relatively new, there's a lot of content here. Okay, click Upload in the upper right of the screen, and if you aren't already logged in, you'll be prompted to do so. If you are logged in, you'll see a screen with your videos listed, and there will be an upload button at the top of the screen, as well as an upload link in the navigation panel on the left. Go ahead and click one of those. You can choose to upload a video or a photo, and by the way, there's a new AI app that I'll be reviewing soon that lets you convert your regular 2D photos and videos to 3D VR180 content. It looks really promising, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. So if that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to subscribe so you can check it out. Okay, I'm going to choose to upload a video. And now I'll click Select File from your device, and I can browse to the file I want to upload. I'm going to select this file. Next, I'll click Upload File, and I'm taken to a screen where I will provide information about the video clip I'm uploading. And this is where DOVR really pulls ahead of YouTube, in my opinion. YouTube relies on metadata that must be injected into the video files in order to display them immersively. You can use VR180 Creator Studio if you can find some place to download it, since Google doesn't support it anymore, but it doesn't display these videos correctly. And there's a lot of distortion in the playback. Straight lines are curvy, things like that. You can use Adobe Premiere, but it's expensive. With DOVR, you tell the app what type of file you're uploading, and it knows then how to display it without using metadata. You can also add a custom thumbnail, which DOVR recommends that you do to make your videos more likely to get views. And you'll need to decide whether your video should be hosted on DOVR or their sister website, JillVR. The difference is DOVR only hosts family-friendly content. And I'm not sure what the strict guidelines are for that, because I have seen some thumbnails for videos on DOVR of young models in thongs doing yoga. Not saying that isn't family-friendly, just saying it would probably get a not safe for work rating on some platforms. Once you've provided all of the information for your video, click Done and the upload will begin. Once your video uploads, it goes into processing and moderation. This can take up to 24 hours, but once your video is published, you'll receive an email letting you know. Now let's take a look at using DOVR from your headset. I'm using a Quest 2 for these screenshots just to show you how good it looks even on the Gen 2 Quest. When DOVR first loads, you'll see the video thumbnails in your display and a navigation panel on the left. Selecting My Videos will bring up a list of all of your uploaded videos. I'll select the one that we've been working on in this video. And this is another area, and the most important one really, where DOVR is just way better than YouTube for immersive content, and that's display quality and controls. The video looks really good, and when I aim at the video and pull the trigger, my controls are displayed. On the left is the description of the video along with a subscribe button, and on the right, next to the video controls, there's a video settings button that gives you all kinds of control over how the video plays on your device. I think this is really cool. Not every setting is a good idea to mess with, and some may make the video look worse, so make small moves. But if you do something you don't like, just reset it. Select the home icon to return to the main page. Another thing that I like about the DOVR app is that you can play your locally stored media by selecting the folder icon in the control panel at the bottom of the view. You'll see a list of your files, and you can just select one to play. You get all of the display controls, and it's less buggy than the MetaQuest TV app. I really like it. So that's it. I know it seems like a lot, and it certainly isn't automated yet, but I am working on that, and I hope to have something for you soon, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Take care.